Hello and welcome to this episode of CXO Digital Pulse Dialogues. I have been joined today by KV Dipu, President and Head of Operations, Communities and Customer Experience at Bajaj Alliance General Insurance. We will discuss the changes that have emerged in terms of customer relationships, efforts made to retain and acquire new customers, and some of the key IT priorities for 2021. Welcome, Dipu.
Thank you, Ashwini. Pleasure, being with you.
Deepu, we've seen how the pandemic has rapidly changed how enterprises engage with customers and employees. There has been a huge shift in the form of we have moved from in-person interactions to digital engagements. What are some of the key changes that have emerged in terms of customer relationships, customer expectations, and such areas from your organization's perspective?
It's a good question, Ashwini. What we have seen during the pandemic is that everybody has gone into a digital way of working, and the customer experience is no different. So what happened when the lockdown was suddenly thrust upon us, is that call centers, suddenly were shut down, and we had to overnight, graduate our customers to our digital assets.
Right.
And the good thing, now when we look at the journey, 10 months later, is that we were able to not just survive, but actually thrive during this entire period. We were able to ensure 100% seamless switch to digital platforms.
Okay.
And the numbers speak for themselves. Even today, even the call centers are back in action. 70 to 80% of our servicing, happens via the digital assets. Our customer complaints during this period came down by 90%. When we got an NPS study done, we found that we enjoy the highest NPS. From a regulator's point of view, we have the lowest grievances.
What were some of the key initiatives that you took around this time, Deepu? So I'm sure with the kind of numbers that you're talking about, that's really well achieved, for an organization. What kind of digital initiatives did you take around this time?
So Ashwini, firstly, these transformations don't happen overnight.
True.
We had invested in digital platforms, much ahead of the pandemic phase. And what happened, when the pandemic was thrust upon us was, we were able to get customers to adopt these digital assets, at scale. Like we see in these ads, bike and car ads, right? That you go from zero to, a very high, level of speed, in just a matter of seconds.
Right.
We were able to similarly, move all our customers to digital assets. And to the point that you made, initiatives, what we have. So one, we have an AI-driven chatbot, So what we did was we figured out key drivers of traffic into the contact center. And we built frictionless, seamless digital journeys on our chatbot. So customers could use our, AI-driven chatbot.
Right.
We also leveraged WhatsApp in a big way because it's a very popular platform with customers. And we need to go where the customers are. We can't have our customers, come to us, right? We need to go where the customers are.
Right.
So we used, WhatsApp. We also have our own mobile app called Caringly Yours. And again, we had built, these journeys on the mobile app. So when the pandemic happened, and as I said, when call centers shut down, we were able to get customers to move to mobile app, WhatsApp, and the chatbot, amongst other assets. And that's when, customers found the journey, seamless. So we went beyond meeting customers' stated needs. We figured out customers also have some latent needs which they're not articulated. So in a very agile manner, what we did was we quickly deployed these features on our mobile app. So we had, for example, customers wanting to go to doctors, but when during a lockdown, they couldn't go. So we came out with a virtual doctor concept. Log into our mobile app, and we have an empanel list of doctors. Take a digital consultation, and then all you need to do is, go and buy medicines. So that was one which we did, and customers really appreciated that. The other is customers were very wary of going to hospitals at that time, for COVID-19 testing. Because in the quest to get tested, you can get infected, right?
True.
So we came out with, an AI-driven bot, by which they could leverage the bot to get themselves tested in the comfort of their home. So again, customers loved it, because it was a proactive feature. Similarly, we gave them a contact tracing feature. We have, before Arogya Setu came into existence, called social trackback. So I think all of these are, features which went, beyond insurance, in line with our theme of Caringly Yours. And I think customers, just loved it.
Spoken about the chatbots that we have. How important, Deepu, would it be to marry the human touch and have the tech piece in sync with each other?
Very important, Ashwini, because what happens when you have deployment of, let's say, bots? People get a good experience, but it is not very clinical and professional.
Right.
People also want, a human touch, right? Because when you have a grievance or, when you are undergoing hospitalization, you need a healing touch. So in our business, care and empathy are very important. So I'll tell you one thing which we did, which was a combination of, digitization as well as human touch. when customers went in for hospitalization, we picked some hospitals, where there's a high footfall. And when customers go to hospitals, they have typically two worries. One, of course, they want to move from illness to wellness. And
Right.
the other is, they are worried about, navigating this complex administrative machinery in hospitals. Go from one department to another, multiple
Right.
tests, multiple reports, collating them, report submission in one place, payment in a second place, release notice in a third place. They find it a little challenging. So we came out with a concept called virtual relationship manager. So what the virtual relationship manager does is, at these hospitals, he'll call up customers and tell them, "You please don't worry about anything other than recovery."
Right.
For the customer, gives a sigh of relief. I just need to focus on my health. And
Right.
what he does, he has a digital device. So he ensures that all the paperwork is handled by him digitally and smoothly. And when we got a net promoter score survey done on this, we actually got an NPS of 90 without a single
Oh.
detractor. So customers just loved it, because it was a combination of care as well
Care
as
and
digital service.
how challenging or easy, Deepu, was it, to ensure that you retain existing customers, and at the same time, as we are rebounding and looking at growth, how are you trying to acquire new customers?
You see, Ashwini, whenever you find success, there's also obviously a lot of hard work behind it, right? It's like a swan, right? You find it floating gracefully on water, but there's a lot of leg movement underneath the water.
Right.
So I think the fact that everybody got into a digital way of working, obviously gave a fillip, to all our efforts. Because as I said, we had built these assets even prior to the pandemic, but the assets got adopted at scale, during the current pandemic. And what we did was, we went about our digital journey in a very systematic manner. We mapped the entire value chain, starting from acquisition of customers, then policy issuance, servicing through his life cycle, claims, renewals, at every stage. So what we did was, not only did we build tools, keeping in mind customer ease, but we also embarked on a massive communication blitzkrieg because customers need to be aware of these tools.
Right.
So I think the combination of production and communication, of course, are aided by COVID-19 in terms of boost. I think is helping us overcome the typical challenges which we face in adoption, in terms of mindset challenges, in terms of some feedback customers give or can may give about various features.
Thank you, Deepu. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you.